Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, as per your respective time zones. On behalf of entire Mastek Managed Services team, we would like to welcome you all to 23C Supply Chain Management Advisory Webinar session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with new features and functionalities as part of this quarterly release which Oracle provides. My name is Sohil Malik, and I am an operation executive at Managed Services with Mastek. Today, I'm your host for the session, and I'm glad to introduce my colleague Sagar Kumar Shah, who is part of our vast supply chain team at Mastek. Today, he will take us through all the procurement and advanced procurement updates for 23C quarterly release. Today's session is planned for around 45 to 60 minutes, and we will make sure that we also leave some time to answer all your questions you may have. We also have panelists available, Prashant Mishra, so you can ask any questions through chat or question panel. Before we move to the agenda, let's have a quick look at the important disclaimer. We would like to convey you our approach towards the Oracle updates in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through vital analysis for the 23C updates done by our experts, which will help you in incorporating new features and updates easily into the system. Also, we'll sync you on any bugs or known issues if there are any. It's good to have an interactive session, so please do ask questions through chat or question panel. We'll answer them at the end of the session. In case if we run out of time, we'll make sure to respond you back by connecting you at later stage to answer all your questions. This is to give you a glimpse of how we have crafted the structure of this session. List of new features coming into 23C, detailing on features so you get brief understanding on what new features are all about. Next one is what are the business benefits and the important takeaways for you as a decision maker. There are four components where we have done in-depth analysis of features which we are going to present to you. First one is impact level analysis, which demonstrates the impact on the end user. If it's low impact, then regression testing can be avoided. If it's high, then we need to opt for regression testing. Second one, which is we are all aware that there are some features which are by default auto enabled by Oracle, and there are some which we need to opt for. Third one highlights the nature of the feature. There would be certain configuration which may be required, or some can be used without any changes. Last one is a quick win. This term we use to simply convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time and what requires significant amount of time and effort to make use of this feature. Hi Sagar, I'll be handing over to you now. Please unmute yourself and begin the session.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you, sir, for walking us through the present webinar flow that we are going to present today. Now, let us quickly jump into the Oracle updates that Oracle has provided for procurement and advanced procurement in 23.3. So overall, there are 15 updates for procurement and advanced procurement. We have bifurcated these updates into two parts. Some of the updates are default, and some of the updates which needs to be configured or opt-in. So out of 15, there are total 12 updates that needs to be configured or needs to be opt-in, and 3 updates which comes as a default. And out of this 12 configuration or opt-in required updates, 6 will fall under the quick win category, and 6 will not fall under the quick win category. Okay, so now let us go and see all the updates one by one. The first one is the integrate and extend the procurement using the REST services. In this update, Oracle has introduced two new REST APIs for personal shopping list and supply negotiation responses, and four REST APIs: purchase requisition, draft purchase order, procurement, approved supply list entries, and supply negotiation are enhanced. So what will be the business benefit from this? This will help business in integrating Oracle with the foreign system seamlessly, and we could have back and forth communication between these two systems much more easily. The next update is worklist notification and approvals work area has a new task filter, which is created by. If you select the default My Task view, you will be able to see a task filter which is the created by date, and into the task filter you will find four options: last 7 days, last 14 days, last 30 days, and you have an option of all. The only thing that needs to be kept in mind is that this filter will only be available to you into the My Task view only. If you are selecting any other task view, this filter will not be available to you. The next update is processing the requisition and converting into the purchase order into the invoice currency at the supplier site level. Up till now, if a requisition is in a USD, when you process this requisition into the purchase order was getting generated into the same currency. But with this feature, you can have a purchase order which is in a different currency, which is we have configured at the supplier site level. So, in which business scenario this will be helpful? Suppose we have a blanket purchase agreement which is negotiated with the supplier on a foreign currency, uh, let's say for example USD, and we need purchase order in INR. So what we need to do, we just need to configure the invoice currency as supplier site level into the INR. Similarly, if procurement requester raises a non-catalog request which is in USD, you can have purchase order in INR, or we have any purchase requisition from the punch out which is in USD and we want purchase order into the INR, we can also do that. So let us quickly see by this by using an example. Here into the screenshot, you will be able to see that we have a supplier, we have a BPA, and the supplier site is in Indian site and the negotiated currency is in USD. So what we have done is at the invoicing, we have set the invoice currency as Indian rupees. Now, when a user is raising the requisition, we can see here that for that the negotiated price is in the USD, but while we process this requisition into the purchase order, it will be into the Indian rupees because we have set invoice currency at a supplier site level into the INR. Some important consideration while using this feature is a purchase order needs to have a backing requisition. If it does not have a backing requisition, we cannot use this feature. The requisition type doesn't matter whether it will be a touchless buying per PO or a process requisition page, or we are using a REST API, but a requisition needs to be there. Second one is when we cancel the purchase order, the unfulfilled requisition demand will be reinstated into the purchase order currency and not into the requisition line currency. The next consideration that we need to keep in mind is that the conversion rate will default from the procurement business unit configuration, and conversion date will default from purchase order creation date into the legal entities time zone. And the last consideration that needs to be kept in mind that we cannot use this feature to procure the configured items in the local currency. The next update is generate reports on purchase order where B2B communication was overridden. Initially, when for all the purchase order, a B2B communication has been set up, but if buyer chooses that to override this communication, so we can have now a report where we can see all these details uh, together. So for this, uh, what we need to do, there is an attribute in procurement purchasing real time purchase order header detail, and under this we could have this detail and we could generate a report. So how business will benefit this? Business will get direct visibility on the all the orders that buyer has chosen to override the B2B communication. The consideration that needs to be kept in mind is that uh, this feature is already available without opt-in, but to generate a report, we need to opt in the override B2B communication of purchase order feature. If you have previously already opted in this feature, then this reporting part will automatically enable. And we just need to add this part to any new report or an existing report to use this. And to use this feature, particular duty role, purchase order transaction analysis duty, is required to use this feature and generate a reports. The next update is bug fixing on the purchasing side. First is the bypass location validation on changes to fulfill purchase orders. So before this update, you cannot make changes to a purchase order with invoicing or receipting activity if that location was inactive. That location may be a ship to location or a scheduled ship to location, distributors deliver to location. But after this update, you can submit the changes even if the location is inactive. The next bug fixing is the validate end date on purchase agreement. So before this update, uh, when we update the end date onto the purchase agreement to a past date, then purchase order in the approval hierarchy created uh, after the updated end date, it was possible to implement the change order to update the past date. But after this update, uh, purchase agreement change order won't be implemented if approved purchase order are created after the updated end date. The next bug fixing is that use procurement BU parameter in purge process open interface document program. So before this update, while using this scheduled job, interface record uh, was used to delete all the data for all the procurement BUs. And after this bug fixing, this schedule job will only delete the interface record for the selected procurement BU only. Next bug fixing is include custom document style in purchase order approval notification time. Before this update, uh, we could not include the user-defined document style names into the purchase order approval notification. But after this update, the document style display name and document type display name will be available to us into the BPM work list to configure this. Next bug fixing is fix drill down from rejected orders in the order requiring attention in follow. So in rejected orders in order requiring attention in follow, if we go to manage order from this infolet, uh, this search result will now include the closed document as well, so that we could have an overall picture and it matches to the count to the infolet. Next is default the communication update parameter onto the initiate retroactive price update schedule job. Before this update, if we are using the initiate retroactive price update schedule job uh, to update the purchase order and have a communication turned on, but the communication was not getting happen to the supplier. But now after this update, if we have opted for the communication uh, to communicate the purchase order price update to the supplier, it into the schedule job, this parameter will be controlled from the blanket purchase agreement. So if we have turned on the communication, that communication will happen. If we have not turned on the communication, we have disabled the communication will not happen. Next bug fixing is view documents matching the ranges and when using dates ranges to search. So before this update, if we are searching for any purchase order or purchase agreement using the date range, so the end date was not getting considered while showing the results. But after this bug fixing, the end date will also be considered to show you the search results. Next update is next generation user experience for supplier self-service registration. So in this update, entirely new self-service supplier registration form has been redesigned, and it is based on the Redwood layout. Uh, some of the highlights includes that it will have a guided process optimized for easy capturing of all the profile details. It will have improved extensibility and geographically responsive data entry. This URL will be available to us into the configure procurement business function task, and this will replace the old URLs that we already had. So how this process will begin? First of all, user needs to provide, supplier needs to provide an email ID onto which one-time passcode will be sent. This will be the email that supplier will get. This is customizable email body. We can customize this, and into this customizable email body, we could use this to have an additional information or a corporate branding, and it will also have the one-time access passcode which is required to proceed ahead with the registration. As soon as a supplier receives a passcode, he or she can enter the passcode here and click on the continue. After that, all the details related to the company details, contacts, addresses, business classification, all the details will be asked, and the supplier can fill the detail one by one. Two registration configurations are supported for one for the prospective suppliers and one for the spend authorized suppliers. Now let's start with the company detail. So company detail is basically country driven company details form, which will be driving the subsequent forms that we are going to fill. And this can be used to configure the UI rules based upon the country, like hiding the fields such as test registration number when the country is USA, and display country specific attachment instruction that we want. Additionally, there is an improvement in the which involves the tax information. Now user the requester no longer needs to re-enter the taxpayer ID or a tax registration number when he or she completes the registration and comes at the end of the registration. So this will be the layout of the company details, the new layout. The next one is the contact. Verified email ID will already be pre-filled, and mobile or phone or fax country codes will be defaulted based upon the selection of the country. This page is also customizable, and on this page, if we want to have an information that whether this particular supplier needs a user account or not, we can also configure this for that particular information as well. Next one is the addresses. Uh, on the addresses, the country is used to default the address country as well as the phone and fax country codes. As always, this is also personalized. You can personalize this, and there is an option of using the locate smart address services, which contains around detailed addresses locations of over 240 countries, so which could help in suggesting the addresses, and which could eliminate the input errors or save time for while doing the data entries. Next one is the bank account. This is also the country driven logic based. We can have, for example, a routing number for the United States bank account. But if we are using a country as a United Kingdom, then there will be a short code. So on the basis of country selected, we could also modify this bank account page. The other tabs, other information, that is the business classification. This page has streamlined to capture the uh, all the information that is required, and if there is some business classification that are not available there, so there is already a form available, a detailed form. which will be available to the requester or the supplier to capture all the classification, all the information with including the certification details as well. Next one is the product and services details. A preset summarized categories are available into this page. This to capture the types of goods and services that supplier can provide or cannot provide. This is also customizable, so category tree we can configure according to our need. Next one is the questionnaire. This page will be used to collect the information pertaining to specific to our businesses or any other details that we were not able to capture during all the details that we have already asked. So this page will be used for that particular purpose. Once the all the information has been pre-filled by the requester or the supplier, this confirmation message along with registration request number will be visible to him or her. And if there are some details that needs to be filled and it has been missing, so it will provide us the guidance on the correction or missing information that requires any upon attention of ours. Some important consideration that needs to be taken to the mind that this new layout will only support to our default language, and it will be enhanced for multiple languages into the future updates. Next one is the old URLs will not work once you obtain for this feature, except for the saved or return requests that requester can send till submits. Next one is the new registration flow uses the same existing tasks, setup tasks, configure supplier registration, and profile change requests. The only changes that includes is descriptive fact fields that are by default hidden. We need to enable this, and all the personalization that we had done previously, we need to redone those specialization. We need to redone this personalization. Next update is the registration request. After the registration request is submitted, the existing functionalities uh, including the request to resubmit the actions and approvals remains unchanged, and the bank account attributes that has both the country specific rule or a supplier registration rule, the supplier registration rule will be considered first, and if supplier registration rule doesn't exist, then CJ over a page will be displayed, or else the attribute is considered and it will be displayed. The next update is the bug fixing onto the supplier models. Now we could download the latest FPDA template to import the supplier into the for Mac as well. Next bug fixing is that remove the duplicate search results if there is an alternate name stored onto the supplier addresses. Previously, there were duplicate search result uh, system was giving us a duplicate search results if there are alternate names for the same supplier available to the supplier addresses. But as soon as you select uh, the the profile option exit address disable alt names, this duplication issue will be resolved. Next update is add requisitions to an existing negotiation. So after creating a negotiation, if you want to add those after creating a requisition, if you want to add the requisition lines into an existing or a draft negotiation, we could do that now. We need not to create any new negotiation every time. The suppliers from the requisition will be added to the supplier invitation list, but this functionality is only available into the draft mode and not under the active negotiation. How it will be done? So onto the document builder into the purchasing Oracle purchasing module, when we will have an option to group the matching requisition line into a single negotiation, and when the matches are found, the quantity will be added to the that particular available line, onto the negotiation, and if there are no matches found, a new negotiation line will be created. What will the business benefit for this? That it will save us time and give us the overall picture of the requirements, which will help in dealing with the negotiation better. So this is the example of how we could do this. We just need to go into the process requisition page. We'll have an option to add those requisition line into the existing negotiation. We need to search the negotiation, and after searching and selecting the negotiation, this negotiation line will be added. Sorry, this requisition line will be added to the negotiation page, and if match is found, that requisition line will be added, quantity will be added to that particular line, or else a new requisition or new negotiation line will be created. Some important consideration while using this feature is the group requisition line is defaulted based on the configure procurement business function setup page. Uh, Requisition line grouping for purchase order outcome will be based upon the criteria like line type, item revision, item description, category, requisition business unit, and ship to location. Similarly, for agreement outcome, line type, item revision and item description, category, and UM. The next important consideration that we need to keep in mind is that if there are different requested delivery dates available onto the requisition lines, then the earliest delivery date will be stamped onto the negotiation line. The next one is if two or more existing negotiation line matches the requisition line, then it will be added to the highest line number. Next consideration is if the requisition line has a suggested supplier, and if there is no supplier and supplier side combination already exists into the draft negotiation, then it will be already added to the negotiation invitation list. But this functionality will not work if the negotiation is in active status. Next is requisition header and line level attachments will be copied onto the negotiation line, but for the categories of to the buyer, to supplier, and miscellaneous. For other categories, attachments will not be carried forward to the negotiation. Next one is if we have an approval rule set up for the amendment into the negotiation. So as soon as we add lines to the negotiation, that approval rule will get triggered. Next update is creating purchasing document from a large negotiation. So after 23C update for all the large negotiation, create purchasing document action will be available to us automatically. Once we award the supplier, then we just need to click on the create purchasing document action, and it will trigger a background process. And once the process is completed, we will be notified. You could see onto the screen that we are getting an option of creating purchasing document for the large negotiation. Next one is we could click on review and submit purchasing document section to navigate to the page and see the purchasing document in detail. Now we have the ability to search the line based upon the different criteria like description, category name, etc. And we also have an option of re-triggering the purchasing document if we want to. So after reviewing the purchasing document, we can click on submit, and this will trigger another process, which is submit purchasing document. And as soon as this process is complete, we will be notified. And after this, we could see the purchasing document created from the negotiation and see all the details pertaining to this purchasing document in the detail. How to enable this functionality? So there are two steps. First step is we need to go to the manage negotiation style page, And under the overview group under controls, we need to first enable the large negotiation for this negotiation style. We could enable this for an existing negotiation style, or we could create a new negotiation style. That will depend upon us. And the second step will be to have a to have maximum number of lines configured for uh, for adding it to the purchasing document. So for this, we need to go into the profile option of ORA PON, create PO max line limit, and provide the maximum line limit for there. The maximum amount that Oracle supports is 10,000 lines. Next update is capture new supplier items into the negotiation. Uh, Whenever supplier submits any responses, he or she can provide a supplier item, a new supplier item, and this new supplier item can also be copied to the purchasing document that is getting generated after awarding the supplier. And the same supplier item could also be added to the product information page if we have enabled this configuration into the particular business view. To add this, but to add the supplier item automatically, we first need to select automatically add new supplier item to item relation option into the configure procurement business function. And this will help in uh, copying the supplier item number that supplier has provided into the negotiation response to the product information management. But after enabling this, we need to establish one integration between the uh, sourcing work area and product information work area. So to enable this integration, we need to follow this process. We need to navigate to setup and maintenance task, go into the manage setup contain, and in the topology definition, we need to click on the manage integration of additional application. And after clicking into this, we need to create one integration setup and provide all the details mentioned here over the screen, like application name, URL, partner name, security policy, and user ID and password. And after providing all the details, we need to click on apply and save and close. So this will establish integration between sourcing work area and product information work area, which will help us in copying the supply item uh, number to the product information management. While using this feature, we need to consider some points. The first one is this will only be useful, or this will only be applicable if there is no existing supplier item available associated with this item, with that item. And second consideration is that for the manufacturer or manufacturer part number, this functionality we cannot use. To establish integration, we need to have these two privileges, and without these privileges, an integration cannot be established. Next update is allowing scoring only members to message the suppliers. Earlier, the scoring only members had no way of contacting the uh, suppliers if they have any query from the Oracle itself. So now after 2023 CE upgrade, the scoring only team members will also have an option of messaging the suppliers online with the use of Oracle itself. The prerequisite for this is we need to have a negotiation style which has a team scoring enabled, and a negotiation that has a team scoring enabled. How it will be useful to business, that if scoring only member has some kind of clarification that requires, or he or she needs any kind of additional information or a clarification, by using this feature, he or she can has that uh, in a short amount of time, which will help them on completing their task uh, more rapidly than the going forward for the offline communication. So onto the scene, you will be able to see that there will be a new additional column named supplier message, and we could uh, control the communication, that whether the scoring only user could send or receive the supplier messages, or you do not want to provide any access, or you just want to give him or her the access of receiving the messages. So we could control all that from here itself. Next update is copying the requisition header attachment to the negotiation header. So after this upgrade, the attachment onto the requisition header will be copied to the negotiation header instead of a negotiation line, and purchase order are generated afterwards will also have this attachment copied to a PU header. Important consideration that needs to be kept in mind is that the categories that supports this are to buyer, to supplier, and miscellaneous attachment categories. No other categories will be supported here. Second one is if we have already obtained a feature copy requisition header attachment to purchase order attachment, it is recommended that we should opt in for this feature as well. The next recommendation is if there are an attachment with the category of to supplier, when we are creating a purchase order as an outcome of the negotiation, all the attachments will be carried forward to the purchase order, irrespective of for which supplier the purchase order has been created. So the suppliers will receive the documentation that does not concern his or him. So to resolve this issue, what buyer needs to do is buyer needs to remove all the attachment from the to supplier category and then create the purchasing document. We could see here into the screenshot that for the requisition there are multiple attachments for multiple categories, but onto the negotiation header only the to buyer, to supplier, and miscellaneous category attachments are carried forward. The next update is create reports in OTBI with data from expenses and Oracle spend classification. So using the real-time recategorized expense transaction data from spend classification with the use of OTBI, we could create new reports, or we could use the existing report by adding the expense line category prediction from the supplier classification. How it will help? It will help us in knowing the spend, uh, knowing the spend of ours, and reporting will be much more transparent for the expenses that is defined into the spend classification. Next update is display header and footer onto the downloaded Word document. With the use of this update, we could add images, logos, or contracting attributes such as contract number, type, or party name to the header or the footer. And when we download the contract document in the Microsoft Word in the docs format, this will be visible to us. But as the PDF layout, as the PDF review is also using the same layout template, this will also be available onto the PDF itself. Next is improved usability for Oracle Content Management collaboration. Uh, the first update in this is we into the Oracle Content Management, we could see error or view messages from the related contracts. So what we need to do, we just need to go to the collaboration tab and click on the error or the warning message, and we could see the details related to that particular error or warning. Next one into this update is we could review and accept the changes into the Oracle Content Manager itself before we choose to override the contract terms by uploading the document. So in Oracle Content Management, we will find an option as shown on the screen that we could review and accept the changes into this application itself. And after this, rather than directly uploading the document and changing the contract terms, we could select this option to review and accept the changes into the OCM itself. Over to you, Sohail. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sagar, for wonderful insights. Let's quickly move towards the Q&A part now. Hi, Prashant. Could you please check if you have any questions you want to take up?
Uh, Thank you, Sohail, but I can see there are no questions posted for now.
Oh, thank you, Prashant. You will receive an email in next couple of days' time, wherein presentation and session recording would be available to you at a single click. So please do look out for an email in your inbox. And these are the upcoming sessions which you can see on the screen. Please register or ask your colleague to register and be part of the webinars. Before you leave us, we would like to have a quick feedback on today's session. Launch, Launching the poll now. Thank you, everyone. I'll be closing the poll now. Thank you all for your valuable time